Hi, I'm Scott McCarthy, the corporate chef for Inform Food Service Solutions, and today we're taking a quick look at the Rational iCombi Pro. Let's take a quick look at the Rational iCombi Pro manual modes. The manual modes are found on the top of the home screen here, and you can see that we've got our steam, our hot air, and the combination mode, which is combining our steam and our hot air. By pressing the steam button, the first line that you're going to see is this 100% line. Now, because Rational creates their steam outside the cavity, we have 100% steam saturation inside the cavity, which means that the steam is completely surrounding the food products. So this is just showing you that it's not going to move. The next line down, we can actually steam at different temperatures. Rational actually, when we're steaming, we actually are pushing in fresh hygienic steam and then evacuating out the old steam, so we have very little if no flavor transfers in the Rational unit. So by pressing the thermometer here, I can steam from anywhere from 85 degrees all the way up to 265 degrees. Next down here will be our timer button, which will go from minutes and seconds, and then once it reaches 60 minutes, it will go into hours and minutes. Right to the right of that is our continuous operation button, or we can also steam to a temperature using our core probe. The top button is going to be the temperature that we were setting at. The bottom temperature is going to be at what temperature the probe is at right now. And then you'll notice that we have a couple other buttons here. This little thermometer with the little triangle, that is going to be a Delta T button, and we can get into that in a later video. And then after that, the thermometer with the red and the blue arrows is going to be our preheat button. So that's going to allow the unit to preheat and then notify us when the unit is at the temperature that we set it to. Then we've got all of our fan modes here. So we can go from an ambient speed where the fan is just slowly turning all the way up to turbo, which is a category 1 hurricane or 75 miles per hour. So we can really get a lot of movement in the air. And then the thermometer with the blue arrows going down is going to be a cool down function. So if we've started at a higher temperature, we can actually cool down to a certain other temperature, so that way that we have the perfect cooking environment for our units. Now, moving away from our steam mode is going to bring us into our convection mode. And one thing about the convection mode, you'll see that now the top line moves. This top line represents the moisture that's inherently in the product. As it starts to heat up in the unit, what do we want to do with that moisture? Do we want to keep 100% of that moisture inside the cavity as we cook, or we can start to evacuate out that moisture or dry or dehydrate the cavity in percentages all the way down to 0%. So when we're down in the 0%, we can actually turn the Rational into a dehydrator. The next button down is going to be the temperature of our hot air, and you'll notice that our temperature range is from 85 degrees all the way up to 571 degrees. And then moving down, you can see that we have the same features as our steam, so we can go into our time function with minutes and seconds. We can go into our continuous mode, or we can also cook to a precise temperature with our core temperature probe. Once again, the top line being what we set it to, the bottom line being what the core temperature probe is at that moment. And you'll notice that we have one additional button down here, which is just a 1 second moisture burst. And we can press it once, or you can actually hold it down to continually press in moisture for that button. After we've gone through all of this, now we move into our combination mode, and that's combining our hot air and our steam. So now the top button here is all about pushing in moisture to the cavity. So this line will go from 0% all the way up to 100% moisture, and we can define that in 1% increments. Then moving down, we have our temperature, and once again, our temperature range is going to be from 85 degrees to 571 degrees. And just like in our steam and our hot air, we're going to have our timing with our minutes and seconds, and then hours after 60 minutes. We can go into our continuous operation, or we can probe our food and cook to a direct temperature with our core temperature probe. The top being our core temperature probe, what we're setting at, the bottom being what the core temperature probe is at right now. This has been a quick look of the Rational iCombi Pro manual modes.